Are there things that can cause a house sale to fall through even when the buyer actually wants it to go through?
Moving forward with the DekkerTeam. Moving forward together with the DekkerTeam.
Hello, I'm Yetta Dekker.
And I'm Leah Dixon.
And we're so excited to welcome you back to another episode of The Inside Track, where we share ideas, techniques, and thoughts that we all need, we all deserve, you, I, everyone, so we can turn our house into a home where we can thrive and our families do the best ever. And the answer to that question is, oh yeah, baby. There are reasons, like, oh yeah, there are reasons a sale can fall through, even when the buyer is saying, but I really, really want that house.
The number one reason that these sales fall through is parents, family, and friends.
Family and friends.
Family and friends.
But
hard to believe, isn't it?
It's really hard to believe. So why is it that family and friends could help a buyer not buy the house that they actually want?
Well, first of all, I have to start by saying they are well-intentioned. It's not that family and friends will intentionally sabotage a deal. They want what's best for their family member or their friend. However, they don't always have the right information. They haven't always been along to see all of the other houses that are on the market.
Right. So that's probably the number one area that I've watched in that area of family and friends. So we get to go out with an amazing buyer, whether it's a first-time buyer, second-time buyer, third-time buyer, it shifts it a little bit. The influence seems to be heavier that first time. And yet I've still seen it happen on house number 5. Right? They're moving back to town. They've owned homes before. So this isn't a conversation for you if you're just a first-time buyer. This is actually anytime somebody's buying a house. I've seen this happen.
Right.
All too often, actually. And so we get into the house, we look at maybe 5 houses, we look at maybe 7 houses live and in person, or maybe we only look at a couple because we've looked at so many online, and online we've done most of our work.
Right.
The challenge is we didn't bring mom and dad or brother and sister or cousin who's actually an influential source or an influential person in the family, in the couple that's buying the house, in their life. We didn't bring them into every meeting. We didn't send them every property that was on the market. They didn't see which ones we disqualified and why we disqualified them.
And those are very important parts of the process.
Well, they're huge, right? Because we've had buyers that literally come. We just had somebody the other day purchase online, basically, by doing a walkthrough virtually after sending the pictures and all the background information. And they were able to make a great decision based on a virtual walkthrough because they're in another country, coming back home. And that can happen. So then we have mom and dad possibly coming to give input, but they've not seen the process up to then. Exactly. They haven't seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And they're just seeing the best one and have nothing to compare it to.
Right.
And so well-intended for sure, and misguided significantly.
Right.
And then they end up misguiding the person that wants the house.
Exactly. I've had it happen recently where a buyer wanted to use a friend as opposed to a building inspector. So
oh my goodness.
This friend filled in as the building inspector, and it was...
Which is okay.
If.
Yeah, you can hear us not breathing. If you're watching, you'll get the energy. You'll get what's going on here. If you're just listening on the radio, and I don't mean just, but if you're listening to a podcast versus the recorded show, you may miss some of the So I'll try and breathe loud so you can catch that part. That's a breath, right? It
Yes.
takes our breath away, literally, when somebody says, I'm bringing my friend or my father-in-law or my mom or my cousin to do the building inspection.
In place of an expert. Yes,
In place of somebody that does it all day, every day.
exactly. So in this particular situation, it was quite apparent right from the beginning that this person did not have experience as a building inspector and went through the house not as thoroughly as a building inspector would, but appeared to go through just looking for reasons to tell the potential buyer that this was not the house for them, and found a few things, potential things that he thought may be a problem, and scared her and told her, this is a potential problem, run away from the house. And she did.
And now I know I've known her a long time. She's been a returning client. She's somebody I adore and love and have helped us several times, and grateful that she's back. This time she's buying the house essentially on her own. In the past, she had a partner to do it with. So that shifts. It's harder when you're doing it alone. So you're looking for more people to influence you, especially somebody you trust. And yet the challenge is now we're having a very difficult time
Right.
and are going to continue to have a very difficult time finding a better house than the one that got away.
Yes, it was actually a very good house. And yes, there were some problems with it, but they were problems that could have easily been dealt with.
And in any home, if we're buying even a new construction, there's things that maybe aren't quite right. And if we're buying a resale property, we're actually not looking for every little tiny idiosyncrasy and inefficiency. We're really looking for things that are going to be problematic,
Right.
right? Like big deals.
Every home has small things that can be improved. If a building inspector walked through my home right now, I'm sure they would have a list of things that I should be working on.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that I don't have a good house.
Right, exactly. So influence of another can create what I call confusion.
Right.
So much confusion that even though the buyer is saying to me, I really want that house, I really do, I just can't now, based on the input from the others that love me. And like, they're in it for my best interest. And they are. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that the interest is to protect.
Yes.
And sometimes they end up through the confusion being protected from doing what is best. So I don't know if that's protected or harmed.
Well, it could be a combination of both, depending on the situation. Yeah.
So we really want to be careful, and I'm just a word of caution, to think in advance of who do you want to have influence your sale. Like, whose voice are you going to listen to? Create your dream team in advance and get them involved in the ground floor.
Exactly.
Right? Wisdom is worth way more than silver and gold. And it's true wisdom to get them in there early on in the process, right? We're grateful to be your partners in building wealth through real estate.
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.